bad dog, no biscuit. I tell you, this is one of my big disappointments this year. And I know that seems weird, but I had at least somewhat medium, lukewarm expectations for Dylan Dog. I mean, it's based on one of the most successful European comics ever made.
Yeah, Cyrus, but when on opening weekend it only opened in one theater in our entire town,
well, maybe
that had to tell you something.
Well, you know what should have told you something too. They didn't even have a midnight screening, which
Exactly.
you think like this is the movie to go check out on Thursday at midnight. You know, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna check it out, see if it's playing. And you're like, wow, it is not playing anywhere except one theater.
A movie about a supernatural private detective is not having a midnight show.
That's not. I mean, when Dungeons and Dragons came out, that movie was showing everywhere. I mean,
you know what the thing is? Dungeons and Dragons was a major release. I mean, as far as being the biggest piece of shit ever, but it was a major release. You see Dylan Dog, and there's nothing about it that says major release.
No.
I mean, it has the very look of something that just barely even made it to home video.
It looks like everything. Anyone who's into this, horror genre, or it looks more like anyone who's into Hellboy and likes seeing that kind of stuff. Which I know there's a huge audience for that kind of stuff. I mean, and just looking at the trailer, you think, okay, yeah, the people will go see this if you show it in theaters. But I'm curious, wow, how bad could this movie have been to where a lot of theaters just aren't caring?
Well, the interesting thing is, when I saw it yesterday. Went in the afternoon, caught a 4:45 screening. The theater was full.
Yeah, mine was full too. I saw it yesterday around the same time.
I mean, it clearly has an audience. It's just that audience is just not very big. I guess
they were actually, and it's funny because I'm looking around the audience. I'm like, yeah, this looks like the right audience. This looks like a bunch of somewhat horror geeks, people who like to go, a few people who like to go see everything. Jan was there.
Sorry, I can go you one further, in that the audience I was with, not only were they laughing loudly through a lot of it, but they were all, I could overhear them making comparison to Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No, see, not my crowd. My crowd, I was in there, they left and were audibly saying, fuck this movie.
Damn.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I don't know if I hated it that much. The problem is I can't even imagine getting emotional about it one way or the other.
Yeah.
Dylan Dog is one of those films that it's based on, like I said, this huge successful property, but very loosely. They took these ideas of this character who is this sort of he's a romanticized loner. I mean, for instance, in almost every single issue, he falls in love and she dies.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like a running theme of the thing.
Because in this movie, Dylan, he's just moaning the loss of his beloved Cassandra.
Right.
And he brings it up over and over again. And everybody else, they seem to bring it up in sympathy, but then they're kind of mocking him about it. So it's surprising that he has these loves of his life every issue.
Right. And apparently this is not a thing here. Brandon Routh, Superman, of course.
It's teamed up again with Jimmy Olsen.
It's teamed up with Jimmy Olsen. Yeah.
Wow, somebody was really concerned about getting those two guys to work. I'm like, man, you guys were screwed with that Superman shit.
Apparently this production company must have really liked Superman Returns to get the two of them together. And in fact, his character, Sam Huntington's character, Marcus Adams, who plays his sidekick, who eventually becomes a zombie in it, is totally made up for the movie. He's not in here. And the reason for that is because the actual sidekick in the comics is a Groucho Marx impersonator that gets brain damage or something and really believes he's Groucho Marx, and everybody else just lets him go with it. So basically he is Groucho Marx as his sidekick in the comics.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that never would have flown.
Yeah, there's no way they could have sold that. So I understand them having to make somebody up. The problem is that they rely so much on this kid to be the comic part of it. And he's just not funny at all.
That kid's never been funny.
You know what? I kind of beg to differ in as much as, I mean, one of the things I did like in Superman Returns was I liked Sam Huntington as Jimmy Olsen, and when him and Clark, the way they played off each other. But if you notice it, the way they played it, it's like Clark was a straight man to the point of having almost no personality, and Jimmy was carrying the ball. And that's kind of what's happening here. It's like, you don't really get to know Dylan. You don't really know what he's about.
No, you can't. Certainly, Brandon Routh doesn't have any subtleties in his performance.
No, not at all.
That he injects into it that might tell you something because he reads it all like he was a living panel of cardboard.
Yeah, I was about to say in the trailer he seems so monotone, but I'm like, is he going to sound like that throughout the entire movie?
Yes.
Just to where he's ready for it to be over.
He looks like he's almost like he's pissed he even has to be there.
Yeah,
really. Okay, wow. Because I mean, the thing, the striking thing is like looking at the trailer, I was just like, man, he doesn't seem like he's really trying at all, like he's phoning it in. But you know, I've seen him in a couple of films when he has like small parts. It seems like he really shines.
Well, the thing is, watching this, I was going through that like, wow, maybe he's just a terrible actor. But then I came to realize, like, no, it's this director that's bad because Taye Diggs is awful in it too.
Oh, really?
And you know he's a great actor.
Yeah, and part of the problem is the dialogue is just so atrocious. It's unbelievable. It's like, wow, no one, I don't care who you are. Marlon Brando couldn't figure out a way to deliver these lines and make them not seem like forced.
Yeah.
This is directed by Kevin Monroe, who did TMNT, the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
The 3D
the
one?
CG 3D one, which I thought was shit.
Yeah, I did too.
Although apparently some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans out there disagree with me, but you're wrong. Sorry. it's shit.
Hey, it might be the Turtles you love, but it ain't no good movie.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. And like that was the last movie he did in 2007, if that tells you about how on fire this guy's career is. But let's just get into the story. This time, rather than being in Italy, of course, they've moved it to New Orleans because apparently you can't tell a fucking vampire story anymore without it taking place somewhere near or around New Orleans.
And the fact that it was shot in New Orleans, you get huge tax breaks for filming in Louisiana.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. But here, Dylan Dog, Brandon Routh, he's a ex-supernatural investigator, which is, it alludes to a long and storied past he has where he was basically the guy who all the various supernatural creatures who live in the town agree on as being their sort of, their police force, as it will. Their Switzerland. The guy's like, look, I'm not going to give away any of your secrets and I'm not going to fuck with any of you intentionally. I'm here for when shit goes down between you. You can call on me. But as you discover, something happened that fucked that up for him with everyone. Which is namely the death of his beloved, which appears to have been at the hands of a vampire group of elders at some point,
right?
Which he did not take kindly to, or very professionally, for that matter. As a former supernatural investigator myself, I have to say that was just inappropriate behavior, and he should not be rehired.
In your world of fantasy,
uncool, dude.
Uncool, yeah, really bad. That goes against paragraph B, subsection 1, stroke
whatever
C.
comes out of my ass.
But what happens is he gets called in by a client played by Anita Briam, who is a hot blonde.
Sure.
So that's not all bad.
Wait, Anita Briam?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like inebriated.
Yeah, doesn't it though? Oh my God, it's like Perry Farrell. It's fun.
Right.
No. Whose father has been murdered by what appears to be clear is a werewolf. The path leads him on. Apparently, the werewolves are largely good, and even though they act like complete dicks until the end.
But they're also like the mafia in a way.
Well, there's a lot of that because the movie is relying on playing a private detective take. I mean, it's like supposed to be the
film
private
noir.
private
film noir,
dick film noir in the gringy, dirty city with lots of crime. But he's not a cop, so he plays between the lines, and so he has connections with mobsters, and he has, you know what I mean?
Really,
and because it's all got that voiceover too.
It's like they took just a straight film noir, but just filled it with, just made all the clients either werewolves, vampires, or zombies.
Yeah,
which sounds so cool.
It does.
Yeah.
Which has me really disappointed. That
every time you hear
good.
it on paper, you read it on paper, you hear about it, it sounds like, hey, I'm all up for that. Midnight movie for me. Yeah. Sign me up. How did this go wrong?
The idea sounds great. Like I said, one of the reasons I was excited about it, I was like, wow, the comic is that popular in Italy. I'm anxious to see what a film adaptation would be like.
Got source material. How do you fuck that up?
Well, I'm still waiting for them to make a film adaptation because this was more like this felt like a television show from the 80s.
Yeah, it did. I was gonna say, I was tempted to say like, oh, it's like a Sci-Fi Channel failed pilot, but it's not because those are much better than this.
Yeah, I mean, those will get real goofy, and this doesn't do that. It's just
it should have almost.
Well, yeah, it's just incompetent. Just like the whole time you watch it, it has such a made-for-television movie feel to it. The music is terrible and comes in at it's the wrong choices at all the wrong times, and it's so super generic. I can't even believe they listed credits for who did the music.
I know.
And you're talking about the score?
Score, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. The bad dialogue, the staging of it is all of it is bad.
I think that the problem that's at its core is that this script is really, truly terrible script. I mean, it just goes from moment to moment with no in between. There's like one point where he's talking about what's going on with the current situation, and then for no reason to the girl, Anita Briem, and then for no reason at all, suddenly it's a love scene. And I was like, wait, she was just talking to something that was like the least sexy thing you could ever imagine. But you know what? We got to hurry this along.
Right.
So let's just go. I mean, there's lots of moments like that just translate to like, wait, why did that just happen? That doesn't even make sense. No one in the whole world would ever behave like these characters behave at all. You know, supernatural added on top of it or not.
Maybe the editing monster fucked up this movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah, between the editing of the movie and the editing of the script. I mean, what Cyrus brings up, it's almost like it was written a different way where they didn't know how to end it. And then somebody said like, hey, I got it. If we connect these parts, we can end it that way. And somebody went, you know what? Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Because honestly, like the way it resolves itself, it's like, you never explained that this could happen, and it doesn't even make sense that this would happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't go into it, but it's just one where you scratch your head going like, well, if it was that easy, then why was it even a problem?
Yeah, and why are people being unwilling to tell you what's going on either? It's like, okay, like the werewolf guy played by Peter Stormare, who seems like he's going to be one of the most interesting characters in the thing. He's the head of the werewolf clan, and as they establish kind of half-assedly early on, it's like, oh yeah, I know him from way back, and then towards the end, it's like, no, he's like he was one of my best friends. You're like, wait, really? Because he seemed like he just treated you like an asshole until the script required him not to.
I know that killed me. Yeah, they first meet, he's all growling like, I ought to come over there and snatch your head off. You're just lucky. But then later said, yeah, that guy was one of my best friends.
It's like,
really?
Yeah, that didn't come across at all.
Oh,
your
man.
job sucks if that's one of your best friends. There's lots of moments like that that just make no sense. There's a point where they get like the evil villain takes the two of them and puts them into Brandon Routh and Sam Huntington into a crypt.
Yeah.
And go, ha ha, there, now you're in trouble. I'm going to close you in here. It's like, okay, like, and then they're like 2 seconds later, he's like, oh, you're a zombie, by the way. You're really good at digging, so just dig a hole and get us out of here. It's like, really? The like 300-year-old vampire doesn't know that? It's like, come on, we've all seen James Bond movies. You're not going to just kill him. He's right there.
Yeah, it's like,
It'd be no movie if he did that.
You're putting him in a crypt. You might as well just go ahead and kill him first. It's an extra step.
We're in a crypt? What are we doing in a crypt? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, I need to call someone. Just hold on. Just don't panic, all right? Just calm down. Calm down! Stop.
911, what's your emergency?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, we're trapped in a crypt. We're trapped in a crypt. And I don't know where it is, but it's dark and it's cold and it smells like shit.
Can you give me your location?
And I'm trapped down here with my friend, and he doesn't know where we are, and he's really scared. He's really scared, and I'm trying to keep him... Can you hear me? More bars guaranteed, my undead ass, Dylan!
Marcus.
Dylan, no!
Marcus!
What?
Be quiet, please.
Listen, Dylan, I'm just trying to think, all right?
Are you saying, is that like a Ziploc bag for your goodies for later? It's like, yeah, I want to eat them. I'm just not hungry right now.
Yeah. And the way he gets knocked around, it's like, okay, does he have some kind of supernatural power? Because there's no way this guy would still be alive, let alone walking.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, it just seems like now this day and age where now people are just, because of Twilight giving everyone the okay just to start making up your own mythologies and just doing it. I always think people, when they try to handle way too many of these like genre type films where they have vampires, werewolves, it's like you still have to play with all those rules, and I'm like, you're gonna fuck that up. You're juggling too much shit. Yeah.
Well, this is from Platinum Studios, and I don't know if you're familiar with these guys, Leon. This is it was founded in 1997 by the guy who was the founder and head of Malibu Comics.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And so their kind of goal has been to buy obscure comic stuff and turn it into things. Like Jeremiah is one of the things they were apparently associated with.
You know what? I
level.
mean, Malibu, the Men in Black was theirs.
Men in Black is theirs, and
I'm sure
Cowboys and Aliens is theirs.
Yeah.
But this is this company, Platinum Studios' first theatrical release is this, and their next one is Cowboys and Aliens, which makes me go, uh-oh.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I'm actually shocked that they didn't hold on to this movie. Because usually movies like this, where you just know they're just going to be a train wreck, you wait till August to dump the shit, the really crappy shit out. Usually, because I always think August is that month to release a film like this.
Well, March tends to be also.
Yeah.
And maybe they missed the March train and they were like, look, April, as long as we get it out before May, that's all that matters.
Came out in March in Italy. That makes any
Okay.
difference. But no, of everything that's wrong with this film, and there's lots. I mean, I will hand it to them that a lot of the effects they chose to go practical rather than CG, and I was like, okay,
For better or worse.
For better or worse, as
Those werewolves had to be like, they looked like they were wearing like Scooby-Doo masks.
Yeah, no,
where
they were
nothing
terrible.
moved on the face.
Well, there was
Post-man.
obviously no budget. There was a scene where the two leads go into this like vampire-filled building with magic weapons, and they're killing hundreds of them, and the camera never goes off of them.
That's right.
Firing at the camera. Because they didn't have the budget to have an
That's
actual
right.
action scene. Yeah.
You just show a close up of the two guys shooting and the flashes in their face, and then after they walk away, then you show all the dead bodies.
Yeah. So they pulled like a Heroes where somebody closes about some shit's about to go down, then a door closes, and all you see is light at the bottom of the door.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
kind of shit. And you're like,
man.
this is a movie, not a TV show, although you could have fooled me.
Yeah.
But even with all that, that's not the thing that takes you out of the movie the most. I hate to say this, and maybe a lot of it is miscasting, maybe a lot of it is the script, but Brandon Routh is so awful in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's unbelievably, I almost want to tell people to see it just so they can see how truly bad he is here.
Really?
Oh my God. And I really liked him in Chuck. I thought he was
Yeah.
really good in that part. I thought he had a lot of charisma. He was really viable in there. Maybe he just hates this so much he wants to never have this company even call him again after he signed the contract. But
He was badass in fucking Scott Pilgrim. I thought he was really awesome.
he
One of
is
the better villains.
sleepwalking like you would not believe in here. I mean, except for morbid curiosity, you're better off just not seeing this at all, especially if you're a Brandon Routh fan, because you'll be mad at him. You'll be like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Why did you sign on to this movie? And why didn't you put some effort into it at least?"
Well, now here's what's funny. I stayed to the end just in case they had something afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there's nothing that comes after it. But at the very end of the credits, it said it gave a special thanks to the Brandon Routh fan club for making this happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
Fuck
Whatever
you,
that
Brandon
means.
Routh fan club.
But yeah, maybe he hates his fans because it did seem like he just didn't want to be there. But at the same time, I kept feeling like, if that was my first reaction, was like, man, he's so terrible in this. But the more I looked at the whole movie, I was like, this director is completely incompetent.
Fucking everything
There's so many places where he's fucking up, where he's not delivering the goods. He's making Taye Diggs look terrible. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I was like, how do you do
Because
that?
when I forgot Taye Diggs was in it, and the character's first speaking, you don't really see him. And I was just like, ugh, who is this guy?
I didn't notice till today because I was actually looking. I was going to try to see it early today, and I was trying to look for a showtime between the 4 showtimes that I was allowed to have, which is late in the afternoon. But the thing is, I didn't even realize Taye Diggs was in this until I kept scrolling down the cast. I'm like, Taye Diggs? What? Wow, he must have said, hey, just keep my fucking name at the bottom of the list. When you read through this
you don't
cast,
know Taye Diggs is in it because he
don't
don't want you to know
this
he's
shit.
in it. I mean, he showed up every day and he was still barely in it. I mean, nobody seems to have their heart in it. Even Peter Stormare, you have this actor who's perfect for this kind of movie, and then he's in 2 scenes.
Yeah. I mean, shit happens to him. Like major plot stuff in the movie happens completely off camera.
Yeah.
It's just it's just alluded to.
Oh, wow.
But that's the thing is so much of this, so many of the action scenes you don't actually get to see.
Right.
You see the reaction, you don't see the actual action. And it's funny because like one of the only things I liked was there was a scene early on where Dylan is getting beat up by this huge werewolf guy, and suddenly out of nowhere he just punches him, and the werewolf just goes flying across the room like he got hit by the Hulk. He's like,
Yeah.
and you look, and it's because Dylan's got these brass knuckles that are silver knuckles.
Yeah.
With runes. I mean, left like the rune imprint on this guy's face. I'm like, dude, that's badass.
Yeah.
I was like, but every other fight he's in for the whole rest of the movie, he never pulls them out. What does it have? Charges like Dungeons and Dragons magic items? I mean, what is that?
Yeah, he gets the shit kicked out of him over and over in the movie. And I mean, that's the thing. That's why I didn't mind Sam Huntington so much, because he seemed like the one single actor in the whole thing who was really trying. I mean, it was almost like he just kind of said, like, I don't care what movie this is. I got a stand-up routine I got to work out, and I'm just going to be funny. It seemed like he was either ad-libbing or just having fun with it or going with it. He brought some life to it where nobody else did. I'm not saying it all worked. And like I said, it's almost like he was in a different movie. But there were times when it was just focused on him, and I was like, you know what? His life as a new zombie who's not one to accept it, that's kind of interesting in itself. Like that, just the two of them could be a movie without throwing in werewolves and vampires and mummies,
but
and
not
demons.
with the script that's
But
there.
with the script they had,
because
no.
he doesn't have any actual funny dialogue. He's trying to deliver it funny.
That kid's
but
trying his little heart out.
You
man.
can't polish a turd, and this is
Yeah.
like a floater if there ever was one of a script.
So is this on the level of I'll just say it now, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
In a way, you give more punishment to that because it had so much money and talent
Yeah.
behind it, and yet it was like still abysmal. I mean, you go, wow, is really no one was going to say, look, the Emperor, he's naked. Here, it's like, okay,
It's like beating up on a retarded kid.
It kinda
because he
is
got
like
your order
that.
wrong.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
he never had a chance.
Yeah. in a restaurant owned by retarded kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you can't even. Let me speak to your manager. Yeah, can I help you? Fuck. Okay,
Damn
never
it.
I
mind.
just want to read the menu of this restaurant right now.
Here's a shiny thing.
Yeah.
Can I go now, please? You don't want your Jello?
I mean, it's just like so many so many ideas in this to just make it cool, and
Yeah.
you fuck that up, really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Normally, I would get mad at something like this because I go like, "Wow, you had the chance to take all these ideas and you didn't do you blew it, and now nobody else can touch it because they'll get compared to you." But so many people are doing this kind of thing now that this is just something that's just going to get completely lost in the shuffle.
I hope
Like,
at the very least people are going to go, this is so terrible. I actually want to see why people say the comic book is so good, and the comic will get republished here more. I mean, I think Dark Horse did a reprint of some of the early stuff, but only a
Probably,
couple
I think they
issues.
did. Yeah.
So I would love to sit down with this actual book, even more so now. I just will never, ever, ever even occur to me to want to watch this film again.
it is that kind of thing where so often when somebody does an adaptation of a movie or like of a comic book, make a movie of it. Like, I've had that sense of dread because I'm like, look, if you get it wrong, you're going to make people go like, oh, I know what that's all about. I'm not going to read it.
Yeah.
Here, you go like, there's no way this comic book is about this.
Yeah.
It's so far, it's so terrible that you're like, there's no way. I actually want to see the book for myself because I know it won't be like this.
Yeah, it can't be.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Look, the whole country of Italy is like, fuck you, it's awesome. Anyway,
Everybody's got their Jerry Lewis.
I thought it was Count Dracula he was doing. Right?
I don't know. You know how I am with accents. I just try and get through them quick so no one notices.
Do a Bela Lugosi.
I wish I could think of something more positive to say about this, to say it was even worth renting, but it really isn't. I mean, this is someone who loves this kind of thing, and wow, this is just one of the most embarrassing examples of. I mean, the Dresden Files is better than this, the television series.
Yeah.
No, this is some old bullshit. I wish I could give it more, but there's just nothing. It won't work with me.
Like I said, it's just so very much a TV show from the 80s that was on in syndication, like Nightman or what's that one with the vampire detective?
Which one?
Okay.
The Angel was good.
No,
Wait,
not
it was
that.
I want to say Night Stalker or something like that.
No. I know what you're talking about. But I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
There's another one too, Moonlight, that came out a couple of
Is
years
there?
ago.
Okay. Yeah. This one I
Vampires
think-
apparently make great detectives. Who knew?
I guess so. It's something on that level, but Nightman is what I fall back to. It's like it almost reminds me of one of these things like NBC would have replaced the Cape with something like this.
Count Dracula, Pet Detective.
At the same time, Cyrus, I didn't hate as much as you, just because I'm not into this kind of stuff as much, or I just saw a little Sam Huntington trying his best, and every so often, Coase, there would be a line or two of dialogue where it's like that was actually clever and funny. It wouldn't get followed up by anything that was such, but here and there. And it just makes me go, just for that reason, almost low rental. But the more we've talked about it, I'm like, I can't help but give it some old bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no getting away from it. Like, I want to give it, I want to say low rental, but I can't.
Well, fuck it. You just did. But don't worry. So you can stop worrying. But the thing is that this is one of those movies that I'm still curious about. As much bad shit. It's like, don't go playing around with that girl. You're going to catch something. But she looks hot from over here. I want to do something. Please, let me do it.
Until someone says, dude, she's got herpes. And then you go, lose all interest. This movie has herpes. Okay, let me do the equivalent of that. There's no gore really,
but she's only $1 at the Red Box. Come on, let me.
I got a whole roll of Saran wrap.
Oh my God! I look like a dead hooker!
Oh, that's right. Not a big fan of silver, are you?
zombie power.
Dylan Dog, Dead of Night.
This is a zombie support group? Hi, I'm Marcus, and I'm dead.